Hey everyone, this is Acid Roots. Got something for you. This is Mobb Deep. Now, if you don't know who they are, watch the movie 8 Mile and that really kind of eerie, gothic sounding song that you hear at the very beginning of 8 Mile. That's Mobb Deep. And unfortunately for them, they really haven't gotten much recognition outside of the East Coast. But, and then couple that with a few kind of shaky albums. Just, they had a 5-star debut, and like so many others that happened to, the subsequent releases kind of tarnished their initial reaction. So, but, they did try to make a couple slick moves in the 2000s, and one of them was hooking up with 50 Cent on their 2006 album Blood Money, and this is the one I'm reviewing. So I like this combination. Unfortunately, not too many people did, but I think it's a rather neat addition because G Unit usually picks some pretty good instrumentals. You'd think 50 Cent was just commercial rap, but he actually, as he was beginning to mess with people, I mean, he had Mace, he had Mobb Deep, and he was working with Eminem, so he was fucking with some lyrical people on some of these. 2005, he was just really starting to branch out, and he acquired these guys, and you just got what you got. So the reason why I'm reviewing this is because the production really sounds rather dank and just trying to think of just real rancid type stuff that just has this sense of decay to it. And it's, Mobb Deep apparently has always been like that, but, when you consider them as to whether or not they would blend in with some of the, Slim Shady and Brother Lynch and some of these guys, it just doesn't really, they're hustlers, they're hustlers that happen to care more about money than entertainment. And so that's when it comes to that, I try to avoid people that are just doing this for their own, it's not really that, but just you can tell the difference between someone who just is grinding constantly. Grinding means just always working. So, but I like this album. It's definitely something. There wasn't a Mobb Deep album for about between 2006 and I think pretty much like 2014. So it's been a long ass time. Prodigy went to jail. They beefed when he got out. He beefed with Havoc. So, I mean, these guys, Prodigy is essentially like he's beefed with Jay-Z, and he was one of the people of the East Coast that he was alive when he was around when Tupac was alive. So he was one of the people dealing with that East Coast movement. You just didn't hear about him that much, mainly because he couldn't get a better record. But he was around. He definitely, he was in the air. I don't know as much about Havoc, but I think essentially he was good enough to be in a group with. He was good enough to get recognition with Mobb Deep, so it just really kind of, worked. But, I do feel like most people who are, if you're younger than 23, you may not really relate to this sound because, 1995 is 20 years ago, so it's not as relevant as it is. That's the one thing. But can you smoke to this? I think absolutely. You can definitely smoke. There are 16 songs on this album, and one of the songs I remember from when I was younger is called the Out of Control Remix. Dr. Dre did the beat, and yeah, so he did it, and it was a song that you probably heard before. It's got a real recognizable instrumental, and I just really liked it. It's probably this is Mobb Deep's greatest song, and at least in terms of chart appeal. You know, you'd think with 50 Cent that they were going to actually get farther along and do it, but they just couldn't quite get another song without his help. So, but you can smoke to that song. It's the most commercial song on this album. And Backstage Pass, capital P, capital H, Daydreamin', Speaking So Freely, Put Them in Their Place, Have a Party, In Love with the Moolah. These are some really good songs to smoke to. There's one song called Smoke It, but I didn't like that song. Trying to count all the songs that I didn't like. There's only 3. There's only 3 songs that I completely didn't like out of 16. So, yeah, you just have to realize that. But there are also some almost songs. I'll talk about the production. Mainly, a lot of these songs, Nate Dogg is on Have a Party. And if you're just looking for, I mean, Nate Dogg was he was a smooth cat back then, and he's missed now. And this was just a kind of overlooked song that you may not have heard. So I definitely recommend 50 Cent, Mobb Deep, Nate Dogg on Have a Party. There is also Daydreamin', Backstage Pass, capital P, capital H. I'm not going to just point out good beats, because the reason why I like these songs to begin with is because of their beats. So we're just going to go to unheard songs. And so I like 10 songs out of 16. And the first one is Stole Something. Next one is Speaking So Freely. Put them in Their Place. Out of Control Remix. In Love with the Moolah. Have a Party. Give It to Me. Daydreamin', capital P, capital H, and Backstage Pass. All 10 of those songs have really good beats. You may have to listen to them once or twice, but I think for the most part they slither. They've got they're not earworms, but they're kind of like they're infectious, because they have like a very eerier sound, which is what I'm trying to give you more of that. That's the point of my channel, but I'm trying to give you more of these, and I feel like this is a good album for some of that. So, but, surprisingly on this record, there's a couple ones that I didn't feel like waiting another 2 or 3 weeks to review this just because of these songs, but I do have sometimes some almost songs, and these are essentially songs that I like, but I don't quite love just yet. Like, I would like them, but I'm trying to convince my mind that I like them, and I don't have it. This bothers me sometimes, but getting me used to these songs takes longer than I'm willing to wait. So I'm just going to say, obviously, if you like these 3 songs, you can give this album a 10, which it would be 13 out of 16 is a 10, but it's actually 10 out of 16. So It's Alright, The Infamous, and Click Click are 3 more songs that I thought were really close, but I'm just trying to convince myself that I like them. But there's some snaky songs on here, like Daydreamin', Stole Something, and Speaking So Freely are like that, and In Love with the Moolah, Give It to Me. Some of these are really kind of nighttime songs, so you're just getting a punch, and really I feel like it's effective. So, obviously, in addition to that, the G Unit members are on these albums. So, just look for those. You may find a couple guys. Not every person fucks with G Unit just because they're really seen as like, cotton candy rappers, kind of like Wiz Khalifa's becoming a little bit ludicrous. Um, in some ways, Jay-Z, Drake, Nicki Minaj, just these kind of cats that I'm steering clear of right now. It's not that I don't like them, it just, no. Um, so I recommend this album, and I'm gonna give it because I like 10 out of 16, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. But if I can convince myself to like these other 3 songs, I give it a 10. So it's kind of in between. But for right now, I'm going to give it an 8.5 just because 10 out of 16 is good, but it's not as good as it could be. So, yeah. Is this album social? Not really. I mean, I feel like a lot of people aren't going to really know Mobb Deep. 50 Cent was about as close as they were going to get to really getting on the air and everything. So I'm going to give this album a 5 social because I don't see them really getting, it's not like, you know, like Cameron Diaz is going to know who they are, or Charlie Sheen or someone like that. They're not going to know who Mobb Deep is. So it just, really, most people, they're going to be overlooked. You kind of have to look for them. It's good music, but there's not really a smoking song, and it's really kind of hardcore rap. But, the beats are good. So if you're just looking for something to play in your car, you don't really care about whether or not it's a trending topic, you might like this stuff. So that's why I give it a 5 out of 10 social. Just because the quality is good. But alright, give this album an 8.5 and a 5 social. Subscribe for more fun.